got love for you, man. You know what I'm saying?
What are we talking about? You know, I'm not here to start any trouble.
I'm only going to say nice things about you from now on. I think you're handsome, and I think you're a wonderful host.
I'm fat and I'm overweight.
Just don't say anything silly.
I was waiting for you to say that.
I'm not laughing about it. You think this is funny? I take it serious.
You know, I don't want y'all to take anything out of context that I'm saying.
He's very funny. He likes to joke around a lot.
As a personality and as an entertainer, yes.
This is going to be really quick. I'm not taking any questions.
Go ahead and get comfortable. I'm going to talk for a little bit.
You're listening to Cabbie Presents, the podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Cabbie Richards. I'm not 100% today, so I'm going to try not to do that much talking. I'm going to let my guest, who is accustomed to shouldering the load, I'm going to let him do most of the talking. In 2013, this guy knows all about carrying. So in 2013, he carried his team into the playoffs and led the league in rushing. So he will do most of the talking, and my scratchiness will hopefully not annoy you in your earbuds or your Beats by Dre's or however you are consuming this podcast. A couple things before we get to my guest. Halloween. I saw some amazing photos on the Book of Faces. Very creative pictures. Like a friend of mine in Edmonton, in their office, they went as the Flintstones. They had the car. That was great. I was randomly walking around in TO and I saw a guy dressed up as our mayor, Rob Ford, who was disheveled. He had a red face. Obviously, he was a little heavier set, and it was just an amazing costume. Now, for my American listeners, you guys will know who Rob Ford is because Kimmel, the late night hosts have been making reference to Rob Ford, who the Toronto Police Department, I can't believe, has confirmed that the video that John Cook at Gawker and Robin Doolittle at the Toronto Star, the video that they saw on an iPhone of Mayor Rob Ford smoking crack was in fact authentic. This was confirmed by the Toronto Police Department. Our mayor is just it's just funny. It's like the stuff you can't make the stuff up. Then on a local Toronto radio station, I'm laughing because then there was a caller who called in on AM 640 News to defend the mayor, and he said his name was Ian from Etobicoke. Ian was the mayor. He tried to disguise him. He didn't even, this is how bad this disguise was. Mayor Rob Ford, the part of Toronto he's from is Etobicoke. And he calls in as Ian from Etobicoke. Dude, pick a different borough. Pick a different town. Pick a suburb. Not the part of Toronto that you're from. Comical stuff. So, and then also about Halloween, a friend of mine in Denmark, I was messaging a friend of mine in Denmark, they don't celebrate Halloween in Europe like we do in North America. She said that we celebrate a day it's called the yearly day of Christmas, and they drink a lot of beer. So I'm not really sure how that works on the calendar, but in Copenhagen, it's a different thing. Let's get to our conversation. CFL playoff football is about to begin, and this dude's responsibility is going to be huge and a big part of whether the Calgary Stampeders will hoist the 101st Grey Cup. He joins me on the phone right now.
If it's going to be an interview, I'm going to conduct it. So I'll answer my own questions, ask myself the questions, then give y'all the answers.
Not sure what he dressed up as for Halloween, but if it were a Clydesdale horse, it would be appropriate because this man has carried his entire team to the best record in the CFL out there in Calgary. Clydesdales are big. They're beautiful. And although he's not huge, women would say this man is beautiful. The players in the CFL have spoken, and my guest has been voted the toughest player to bring down. I am pleased to be welcomed by Jon Cornish of the Calgary Stampeders here on the Cabbie Presents podcast. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Cabbie.
On Twitter, you can follow his adventures at Johnny Cornish. That's at JONNYCORNISH. Sorry about my voice, man. I started getting a little tickle in it on Wednesday, and then Thursday was Halloween, and then Friday I went to see Bad Grandpa. So just like 3 nights of just assaulting my voice, and it sounds like this.
Yeah, I've actually heard a few coaches with voices like that before. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's just from yelling. Mine was from laughing and singing and carrying on.
Well, at least you had a good time.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So, hey, when I was in the 7th grade, follow me here, I went to elementary school with a kid named Granville Riley. He was like an athletic specimen. He ran like the wind. He jumped like a gazelle. He had muscles like Terrell Owens at 13. His mother was like the disciplinarian in the household, and since she was of Caribbean descent, she beat his ass with the belt, slippers, the broom, anything to discipline Granville when he messed up. And I swear that's how he developed his athleticism, was dodging, was jumping and maneuvering in tight spaces, trying not to get hit. You, Jon, how did you develop your athleticism?
Well, so I did something in high school that my coach and vice principal and eventually principal didn't like me doing. But in my high school, we had really tight hallways, like maybe 10 feet across.
Okay.
And between periods, everybody would switch classes, so it would get really tight. So after my first year of football, I found that I really liked avoiding people. So I would sprint full speed through that group of people. Yeah.
This sounds amazing.
Yes. So it continued until I had a teacher that was, I think, 4 or 5 months pregnant. I juked her. So that's when I got disciplined for it, and there's no more running in the hallways.
Wait. So, but you juked her, like you avoided her, like you probably rolled off her.
But I don't know. They didn't want me doing it anymore after that.
Jon, how did the kid turn out? Did the kid suffer any damage as a result of you?
I think the kid was just fine. And I know that teacher's still at my high school. So
you hope the kid is fine. You hope.
Well, I hope, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you probably would have heard something if something happened. You would have heard by now. Like, hey, you remember Mrs. Robinson? Well, guess what?
It has been like 14 years.
Wow. Okay. So wait, when you were running down the hall, were you barreling into people, like knocking them over?
No. I would never touch a single person.
Oh.
I was just moving between the people. And, I basically did the exactly same thing in the hallway as I do on the field.
So you developed your Barry Sanders game early on.
Yeah, well, I would agree. The first time I played football, like, ever was in grade 7. And I remember the very first time I carried the ball, I outran everybody. And then there was one person, like, pretty close to the goal line. And one of the moves that I did was I held the ball out in front of me. And then they just grabbed the ball and ran the other direction.
Oh my gosh, what a lesson to learn. So you just completed this unbelievable run, avoiding, dodging everybody. You are yards, like less than 10 yards away from the end zone, holding the ball out to cross the plane, and the dude just snatched the ball away from you.
Yeah, I wasn't too aware of ball security at that point.
But you are now, though.
Yeah. I would say a little bit more,
yeah. Yes, you absolutely are. After you appeared in the Sportsnet magazine as one of Canada's hottest athletes, what kind of response did you get on Twitter from the female population?
No, I mean, it was pretty. It was a great photo shoot. You know, I loved going down there, but that issue was really more about the women than the men. You know, I had a full page. I thought the picture turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
But the women liked it, but See, my girlfriend tends to discourage me from replying to women on Twitter.
Hey, listen.
So I mean, I can't really,
Yeah, listen, you can't help the at mentions that you get. You know what I mean? If you don't,
you can't help that.
You can't help that.
I can't help the reply.
Right.
So.
You're just only a man, and you just happen to be a good-looking man who just happened to take a great photo on top of like a rock cliff, and you can't just help the positive feedback. That's how you.
I mean, maybe it's more the Red Rock Canyon where we shot.
Red Rock Canyon,
so
okay.
Beautiful. And
guy, nobody's looking at the rocks, okay? Nobody's looking at the rocks below your feet. They're looking at your friggin' abdomen. All right. You did mention there were some beautiful athletes. There were some beautiful women in that issue. 100%. How many of them do you know?
Like personally?
Yeah, well, like a hey, what's up? I don't know, like you would recognize and you would see at a function and you would talk to the person, that kind of thing. Not like how many do you know, like, hey, high school prom, like, first year university, do you know, not like that.
Well, none of them. Like I met some people down there and they're pretty cool. Like Olympic bicyclist. I forget her name right now. Downhill skier, Kelsey Sirwa.
Right.
Our bobsledder, gold medalist.
Is that Hollingsworth? No. Melissa Hollingsworth plays. I should know this.
The one where she has a huge tat on her leg.
Oh yes, and she's just jacked, like. Yeah. Like she's as some brothers would say, she's tick.
Yeah, and I think that's an apt term. And Clara Hanna, she's a volleyball player.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a few other people there, but it was pretty nice. I think I was the only guy for the group of women that was there, so I got to take them all out on the nights to Vegas.
Oh, is that where you guys shot it in Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude. So it was just you and like 5 or 6 athletes?
Yeah.
And the photographer.
Right, and the photographer was super cool. Like all the people there, all the Sportsnet magazine people were great, and our photographer was awesome too. So it was such an awesome experience. I mean, that combined with Vegas, and yeah.
And yeah, I like the and yeah part. I mean,
it's Vegas, right? Like,
what does that mean, John? What can you tell us about?
No, exactly. I'm not going to say the term, but everybody knows the term. The phrase.
Oh man, there are times where I feel like Calgary is kind of like Vegas, and specifically the Calgary Stampede. And you guys, unfortunately, it seems like every year that the Calgary Stampede happens, that you guys are out of town because the team doesn't trust you guys with the shenanigans that take place during that 10-day stretch in the early part of July. Now, and have you ever been able to sneak out and enjoy like?
Well, we aren't really like locked down, but I mean, sometimes we're on road trips. This year, actually, we played in Sask and then someplace else after that. So we were like sort of able to be in Calgary. So we got to experience some nights of Stampede. And our second game was on Friday, so we actually got to experience a full final weekend of Stampede too.
Wow. And how was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's always fun. I remember I was at the Cowboys tent on its last night, or second to last night, because the last night was Nelly was playing. But it was pretty awesome. Like I think they had like 4,000 people in there. It's
insane. Yeah, insane.
Yeah, insane. Yeah.
Your our prime minister was at Cowboys on Friday night. Like, and do you know about this?
Yeah, he was having a nice little hoedown.
He had like a 30-minute set, and he played with like. First of all, I didn't know our prime minister could sing. I know he's a big hockey fan, but I didn't know the dude could sing, and he played the keyboards. So he had like a 30-minute set with this group called Herringbone, and he did like the good old hockey game. He did like a Johnny Cash song, Folsom Prison Blues. Have you, when you're at Cowboys and you are enjoying your night, are you one of those dudes that like sings the country songs?
No, I don't really know too much country. My roommate in college, he had me going on the country a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's only because he drove me everywhere and had me listen to it in his car. But, since I left Kansas, sort of cut the country out of my life.
Yeah, but you live in a city where, like, there's so much country music. It's like the only city in our country which has, like, is that passionate for country music.
For Western, yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. But for every person that you have that's, a staunch country fan, you got quite a few people that, just normal Canadian. So it's I don't know, like during Stampede, everybody becomes a cowboy or cowgirl. Like, I mean, at that point, everybody listens to country. But outside of Stampede, it's pretty chill. People like their top 40.
When you enjoy the Stampede, do you does a photograph exist of you wearing a cowboy hat, a cowboy boots, and a plaid shirt? Do you think there's a photo?
The last picture I took, actually, I was wearing a mural shirt. So I had basically cowboys against the sunset on the prairie across on my shirt. And so I didn't take many pictures, but I actually came across another dude at Cowboys with that exactly same shirt.
Oh.
So we stood beside each other.
Yeah.
And you just had this continuing mural across our bodies.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really funny. See, like girls, they hate each other if they see each other out with the same outfit. Like, she doesn't look as good as me, and then she starts to pick her apart. Dudes, it's like you guys bonded over the same
exactly.
fashion sense.
Yeah, like this when you have that innate sense, the fashion sense, and then somebody else, they have that same sense, you have to share that with each other.
Yeah, give each other a dap. Maybe you have, a toast or whatever, and you enjoy that moment. Do you understand how, like, judgmental girls are with each other? Like, when you're walking down the street with your girl and she's, do you understand what level of like specific, like, microscopic vision that girls have as they are, like, literally in their minds ripping apart another chick's outfit?
Well, I actually feel like I do. I think my ex-girlfriend, she's, nothing against her or anything. But she's definitely one of the more jealous types.
Right, okay.
And because of that, she was always, any woman in my visual range, any woman I could potentially see, she would be ripping into him before I ever even saw him.
Wow.
So she didn't like women interacting with me at all.
It sounds like you had to spend a whole lot of time either like, oh, I didn't even see her, baby, or wearing sunglasses, or like when you see women approaching, then you all of a sudden you're just looking up at the buildings around you like, oh, I didn't know they had a satellite dish over there.
I like to use terms from Call of Duty. You got the quick scope, and then you got the hard scope.
That is tremendous. So wait, what is the quick scope, and then what's the hard scope in reference to?
Yeah. You can't move your head. If you move your head, they're going to see that. You gotta just move the eyes. Just take that little picture, that mental picture, move your eyes back, and then
man.
I find it's best to like take that picture and then look at your girlfriend.
Right.
Because then like they never even have a clue. And then the hard scope, that's the one that gets you in trouble. That's when your eyes lock, and it's long enough, maybe just a second, but long enough for the woman to notice. So that's the one you have to be careful with.
Of course.
But when you're around other guys, I mean, everybody hard scopes like
it's in our DNA. We're in our blood. We're hunters in our fibers. So we always have to look at, things in the periphery or in our line of vision.
There's nothing wrong with looking.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. That's great advice. 100% great advice. I find that like, when you're just out, like sunglasses is always like the best thing because
I was gonna say B is also a good choice. Sunglasses.
Just a nice pair of like aviators, dark tints, and then you're good. But as you said, like the quick scope. That is absolute, and it makes sense that the quick scope comes from someone like you because your eyes are always darting in your profession because you're finding little holes to run through and avoiding people who want to inflict pain on you.
Yeah, very accurate.
Hey, at this point in the season, how much does your body hurt, John?
I got a little bruise yesterday in the game. It was a strange thing. The very first play of the game, running through the hole, And then I got hit underneath my shoulder pads, which never happens. But
really, like where? Like on your chest? Or like the side, like on your side?
You tend to be less than specific when you're in season about an injury.
Oh, fine, okay, fine. God, you just turned into the. Did you just?
Just a little bruise, but like enough for me to be like, this game, this is a important game, but like, these guys are trying to kill me out here. So I took a few more carries, and we weren't going anywhere. So Huff pulled me at that point. But because Huff pulled me, yesterday's game basically left nothing on me but this little bruise. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling a lot better than I did last year this time.
John,
last year this time I felt less prepared for the ordeals of the entire season.
I'm going to get to last year in just a second. I didn't know that I was talking to Bill Belichick about you're like very clandestine about injuries and stuff. I found that very funny. Just like, yeah, we're less specific about our injuries in season, that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, it's just like, if you tell somebody, oh yeah, I got this big bruise on my calf, people are going to go after that.
I suppose.
It's just how it goes.
Nobody listens to this anyway, John. I mean, you're kind of doing this as a favor to me.
Oh, well, good.
What happened last year? Why were you so beaten up? Like, what part of your body was beaten up last year?
I wasn't that much more beaten up. I was just more beaten up than I am now. Right, like I would say, of all the players on my team, I'd probably take the most hits. I mean, the offensive line, they hit every single play, but the distance between them and the opposing player is probably 1 yard to 2 yards. But when somebody hits me, they most likely had a run at it. So I'm exposed to, and I get thrown to the ground too. So I do get exposed to quite a few hits, but I found that like deciding how you're going to get hit is the way to prevent, major injuries and whatnot.
What does that mean? Like the way that, I don't know what that means.
I don't know, like sometimes you just have to accept that somebody's going to tackle you, right? Like somebody's 3 yards away from you and they have a specific angle and they aren't like shooting low or like running high. It's going to be hard to deal with them, especially a guy like Adam Bighill, Chip Cox, Hinock Mwamba. Like those guys are great tacklers. And sometimes you have to just be like, okay, this guy's going to tackle me. What am I going to do to maximize the yardage before he tackles me? Mm-hmm. And by also, besides that, also deciding how I'm going to go down. Because quite frequently, if somebody's going to shoot my legs, I'll just jump over them and go down. Like it's simple, right? So it prevents me from even getting hit very often. So little things like that, or deciding to hit his corner rather than running directly into his chest, hitting one of the sides. So just little things like that helps prevent, accumulating major damage. I mean, you're going to get bumps and bruises, but the key is to prevent the accumulation of problems.
Very innate, your sense of your surroundings and ultimately protecting yourself or finding ways to, when the pain comes, to have as least of it as possible. Yeah. So speaking of calculations, at what age did you decide to shave your head completely?
That was 2.5 years ago.
Like it's
3 maybe.
You saw
3 years ago.
You saw that it started to go. And you're like, I can't do this anymore. This is just, I'm just gonna.
I decided not to hold on to something that wasn't worth holding on to.
Now, when you shave your head, do you use a blade or do you use a liner?
I use a Mach.
Like a Mach 3 or Mach 4, one of those?
Yeah, Mach 4. Is it Mach 4? Yeah.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, so I use one of those, and I use shaving cream for my head.
Dude, don't you get bumps?
No, I shave every day.
Every day? Yeah. Guy, aren't you? You're gonna how often are you cutting yourself?
None.
What do you mean, guy? Your hair won't grow back long enough for it to have the necessity to shave it every day, dude.
No. Mine does though.
What do you mean? What do you what are you, Wolverine?
Michael Jordan shaved his head every day. It's how it goes. Like if you have dark hair and light skin, like it pops out a little bit and you can see it. So
right.
I also feel like my head gets shiny when my hair is like 2 days growth.
Yeah.
So I don't like that either.
That's hilarious. You mentioned Michael Jordan. I almost feel like Michael Jordan, actually not almost, I do feel like Michael Jordan single-handedly made bald heads cool for young people. I mean, in the 80s, there was like the Kojak TV show, but Kojak was like an older dude, and there's some other dudes like bald, but Michael Jordan, because of how iconic a figure he was in pop culture and obviously in sports, he made it cool. So I have a list of guys, and I want you to estimate how long it will be before that person decides to shave it off completely.
Oh.
Because
so shave it down to like short, or shave it down
as bald, like you.
Okay.
All right, so these guys are in varying degrees of baldness, and one of their friends has had to be like, "Come on, dude, it's time."
Okay.
Carlos Boozer.
I've always found that like Hispanics can sort of get away with that a little bit more.
So what do you say time wise, like 2 years, 3 years maybe, or you think less than that?
No, long time. He doesn't need to shave that.
You think he'll just keep it? He'll just ride it out?
He might.
Okay.
I think a lot of people make that choice. Like going completely bald is like you see more people doing it now, but it's not a choice everybody makes.
Okay, fine. All right. This one's a little tougher because you don't get to see his head that often. However, it is going. Member of the Boston Red Sox, the world champion Boston Red Sox, second baseman Dustin Pedroia. Have you ever seen him without his hat on?
No, is he balding?
Oh, dude. It's like he has this giant, it's like all the hair that should have grown on his head is growing through his face. So it's like the gravity is pulling it through his head to his face. And he's going. But he's a baseball player, so he can hide it.
I like facial hair with bald. Actually, the sort of the reason why I sort of like the goatee with the bald is I watched Star Trek back in the day, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Benjamin Sisko, the captain.
Yeah.
He, after a few seasons, he went bald with the goatee, and he was so much more hardcore after that.
Yeah, he was. I think
that's why I like it. So with him, I think you should go bald and let his facial hair grow.
I think it was Avery Brooks was that actor's name.
Avery Brooks.
Yeah, Avery Brooks. He had a super deep voice too, and he definitely had a command of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger Woods. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
He has that light, that sort of fuzzy hair.
Yeah.
So he can spin, and it's not so bad. He could probably use that the hair spray paint. Probably just darken it in a little bit, and he'd be set. I know actually a few football players that did that.
Come on, in real life? Who?
In real life.
Who did it, John?
I can't tell you.
John, who did it?
Can't tell you.
Come on, John. Just one guy. You said a couple.
Okay, one guy. Okay. No, because it's his whole game, and he's back in the league now. He'll get pissed off.
He's still in the league, or is he out of the league?
He's back in the league.
Oh,
he was out of the league, and he's back in the league now. Now he just came back in the league, but it was a recent thing. So now, if it was 3 weeks ago, I could have told you.
Who's the guy? Is there another guy that you can think of who's no longer in the league that used to spray paint his hair? Spraying those little lights, those thin spots.
Well, you're trying to pry. Sometimes you got to have information that you reserve just for your teammates. This is one of those things. You go tell people this guy still does it. So you have his secret exposed.
Oh man, this is unbelievable. I can't believe somebody you know who I think does that? Jermaine Jackson. Have you ever seen that dude? Obviously, you've seen his hair, but his hair doesn't look real, does it? To you?
Yeah, I guess so. But
it looks like it was made by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory or NASA, because it just doesn't look like it's from Earth or belongs on Earth.
You know what people are doing now? They're getting the scalp tattoo.
What?
So they're getting dark spots put in their scalp, and then that looks like you have hair if you just shave and stuff.
What do you mean? What? Where did you see that?
You just look. You can find it anywhere online. It's a common procedure now. If people go in, you can get your hair your hair replaced by a tattoo.
Is that what like Nick Cage and like John? Oh no, I think Nick Cage and John Travolta. They got like the
hair
like
plant.
hair plants,
hair plugs,
plugs. Yeah, plugs. Wow, a head tattoo.
You can go to India. Hey, listen, when I started balding, I researched this stuff.
This is amazing.
So you can go to India and you can get the hair plugs because lots of people are willing to donate because hair plugs are like another person's like hair follicles, right? Or it can also be yours. So they can take stuff from like the back of your head and then put it in the top of your head. So it's a sort of gross procedure because you're like. Yeah.
So wait a second. Why did you fall down like a YouTube rabbit hole one day and you saw these videos and you're like, because there's always like suggested videos on the side of YouTube and then you end up clicking one and one leads to another and blah, blah, blah. Like, how did you even discover this?
Yeah, well, that's basically the method that I use, but I do that on Wikipedia, or I used to more so.
Wait, because were you looking at your like options for you?
Because at first I was in denial. I was like, I switch to herbal essences. The shampoo's making my hair fall out. So I thought it was that, but then I sort of realized it wasn't after I switched. So I started just looking at my options, and so that's why I decided the best option was just to shave it off.
Wow, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, I have a few more for you. And you know what? And John, you made the right choice. Just shave it off. Just shave it off. Junior Dos Santos, who's a UFC heavyweight. He just lost recently to Cain Velasquez. Junior's got his is really thin. I don't know if you.
But like I was saying about like Hispanic guys, like it's sort of like I don't want to say it works, but they can get away with it a little bit easier. I don't know. I don't really know why I feel that way, but maybe.
Okay.
Maybe you should probably shave it though. like you get to a point where you're holding on, right? Like,
yes.
It's gone, dude. Accept it.
Have you ever seen like a woman with like receding hairline or like thin at the front? It's kind of
women tend to like thin generally over the head, over the scalp.
Yeah.
So, but I've never seen a recede. That would be actually. I do got this one story. So I work at the bank, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, well, I work at the bank.
Okay.
And so we had this one person come in, and so she was undergoing hormonal therapy, and that was the only person that I've seen. It was a man going into a woman.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was she was changing.
And she was changing. And,
right.
But he had already had his hair thin out.
Oh my goodness!
After she became a she had to wear wigs and stuff. But she's a great-looking woman, absolutely. Great personality because she's a common person in the bank. But
right.
Yeah. In between, like there was, yeah.
Wow.
So she's the only woman that I've seen, but that was because of that. So
right, because she formerly was thinning up top, and then she had the wow. That's how do you act? Like you have to act like everything's normal, right? You have to act like, hey, it's just a regular Tuesday, and this is just something you see every day.
That she asked me, and this is, I think as a teller, you might not ever hear this in your life, but is it possible to change my sex on my account?
Oh my word! Yeah, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had to like legitimately question if it was actually possible because like some stuff like it doesn't have a toggle. Like you can't change it like once it's set, it's set. But no, they were able to handle all that and stuff for it.
Wow, that must have been the talk of the whole that day's work was that person like asking that.
No.
Well,
see, you talk with your coworkers.
Of course.
But yeah.
There's always inter-office gossip, and there's always like, all kinds of things. I would imagine that's not an everyday. That's certainly not a question you might get again in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe not again in my life, but there are questions posed at the bank that are just like completely out in left field. Like just have no idea where they're coming from with this stuff. Like
what's another one?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but this is the thing about the bank. So now most people do most of their banking online or like over the phone, or they can come into an ATM, right? So the people that you actually have coming up to you very often have problems. So that's what I'm sort of getting at. You have to deal with so many problems because the only people that are in line at the bank are people that have problems, or they got checks that they have to deposit. So deal with a lot of problems.
That's that's amazing, and I wish you could remember. Maybe if you remember one in the next few minutes, then
I wish I could, but in the end, I probably already violated some privacy.
No, you're not saying who this. You're not saying who this person. You're not saying, hey.
I know, but we aren't really supposed to talk about clients.
Listen, everybody, people have seen that person in the street. Okay, people have seen that person in Calgary, Alberta, walking around, and that person works somewhere, so that person's colleagues knows about this change.
Potentially,
they know.
But this is the thing. After your change, if you don't tell somebody that you had the change, you won't know.
You don't think?
Unless it's pretty obvious.
I think those.
I actually have my first boss underwent a sex change, and
what?
This is crazy. Well, I'm talking with Cabbie about sex changes. Anyway, so he has a sex change, and after that, complete change. The voice was a little bit soft for a man's potentially, but that was it. And even that deepened over time. So it's something that changes. If you're undergoing hormone therapy, over time you will slowly become more womanly.
Wow.
Manly, I guess. I mean,
well, the boss, your former boss was transgendered. So it was a woman first and now a man, or vice versa?
Yeah, woman to man.
Woman to man. Yeah. Whoa. That's I don't know what the numbers are, but I feel like that's in the minority of that's a smaller percentage of transgender people, I think, but I have no idea.
I'd actually be interested in seeing those statistics because you never really know about stuff like that. You might just be surprised.
Oh, I would totally be surprised. I mean, you're the only person that I know that has dealt with two people. I have a friend who was on these MTV shows, and he was in Road Rules or one of those, and they had to go to Thailand for 4 months, and in the house, one of the contestants was a transgendered person, and he just he would talk to her for hours about everything, and unfiltered, no holds barred, really, really graphic stuff. He told me, and it was a comedy routine. It was unbelievable one night, but that's one. So he's encountered one, but you've encountered two.
Well, I mean.
You've worked with one, and then two. You've had this. Wow, that's.
Well, I mean,
I
don't really when somebody is transgendered. I don't really like the term, because for me, you're either, what you're gonna be. If you want to be a male, for me, that makes you sort of male. I don't know if you have any friends like this, but you have a white friend. And or your friend has a white friend, and then your black friend tells you that, oh, he's black, and then she counts as black.
Oh,
so it's sort of the same thing. If they say they're a woman, then that's how I'm gonna I'll treat you as a woman.
Okay.
And as a man, I don't really treat opposite sexes differently, but you're a woman. If you say you're a woman, then you are.
No, okay, I get that, but I think in society, I think transgendered is the term that we use for people who.
Well, I completely agree. But personally, I actually had the opportunity to speak at a conference in Saskatoon last year, Breaking the Silence.
Okay.
And it was all about. Actually, it was this year. It was. The Breaking the Silence conference is Canada's longest-running lesbian, gay, trans, bi alliance conference, right? So I was a keynote speaker at this, and so I got actually an opportunity to meet lots and lots of people of differing sexualities and genders, and I had already had a lot of experience with sort of because my sister was lesbian, my mom is married to a woman, so for me, I don't know, sexuality and stuff like that, I think we complicate it a little bit. Sorry for my little tirade. But.
No, I like it. No, dude, I would have not known any of this. Keep going. So you're at this So you're at this conference in Saskatoon. They invite you to be. So as you were saying that, I was like, why were you invited to be the keynote speaker? But I guess you in your life you have people that you love who are gay and whatnot. So it's, and I'm sure you have a more unique experience than some random fat kid from Toronto.
Yeah, just you're Cabbie.
Yeah, but I'm still just a random fat kid from Toronto. I just got lucky a bunch of times. That's pretty.
See, that's how it is, though. It's not about being lucky a bunch of times. It's about being in the right place at the right time.
No, but that's luck.
That decides that.
Well,
no, it's not, though.
I might hire you to be my life coach at some point in the future, John, because things are working out very well for you, and they could be better for me. Okay, I've one more name on the list of athletes who are balding, and I'd like you to give your thoughts. And when do you think this person will shave off their head completely? And the last name is King James, LeBron James.
That's a good one. You see, he can probably afford to get the Hollywood hair treatments and stuff that probably a lot of those actors get.
But you think everybody would know though? See,
that's the thing. Like some of these guys, you would expect these Hollywood actors to have lost some hair. Look at Richard Gere. He looks the same as 30 years ago with a little bit of pepper on that.
That's true. A little salt in that pepper. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I don't know. I mean, LeBron, he has his hair, and he's sort of known by his hair at this point.
Yeah. So I don't think he would be under such he would get such ridicule if all of a sudden his hairline stopped receding and he wasn't losing any more hair. It just stopped right there. I think people would know.
Yeah.
So what do you think, John? How long do you think until he shaves off his head completely and goes with the Michael Jordan / Jon Cornish look?
I'm going to say 4 years.
4 years? I think that's long, dude.
It is long. He's going to hold on to it, though.
Those headbands are just going to keep getting thicker?
Because those headbands actually work pretty well for him.
Yeah,
they really do.
Dude, they're not NBA regulated, dude. Because I don't think his headbands have the NBA logo on them. I think they're just plain headbands that are just thicker than the ones you can get at a regular store.
Because I tried on a headband a few times. And workout or whatever, and what it does, you can have your hair fading behind it still, but it removes the original line, so it sort of looks like it could still be down where your original hairline was.
Yeah.
So it's some of that misdirection.
Guys, I can think of Jermaine O'Neal and Richard Hamilton, both guys who wore headbands for a big part of their careers, because their hairlines were receding, and they had the braids. So the braids were actually pulling the hairline back. So they rocked headbands to cover it up, and then both dudes, they shaved their heads, and then Richard Hamilton, his was super thin on top, and then Jermaine O'Neal, I think, just shaved his head almost pretty much all the way. Johnny Cornish, was awesome talking to you.
Yeah, it was very, very fun times, Cabbie.
Thank you, sir. On Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, it's at Johnny Cornish, JONNYCORNISH. Are you on Instagram also?
Nah.
No Instagram, just Twitter. And you're a Facebook page?
A Facebook, yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, good luck the next couple of weeks, and I might see you in Saskatoon, homie.
Sounds good. All
right, brother. Be well.
Have a good one. Thanks.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Cabbie Presents, the podcast.